Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Do you think that what's the short?
Drive it.
What's the you've had a long career in MMA,
20 years,
a long and successful career, but it's very rare.
Yeah,
and it's very rare for someone to be operating at the same level that you're operating.
7
at
years
now.
is like the cutoff. Like once you get to about 7, everything starts to just rapidly decline. Like you just fall to shit.
Do you think it's an injury thing? Is it a training thing? Is it just a life thing?
They didn't, or at least they weren't able to single out any particular factor in general. But, you know, there was a lot of theories as to why that might be, but they were able to track professional fighters' careers over length of time. I think they had some metric.
Sorry, who did the study again?
I don't remember, but it's on the internet.
Oh.
I do believe that they were able to account for number of fights too, and weigh that against that metric and see how that may influence things. But 7 years was this magic number, like 6, 7 years. And once you start going over 7 years, your percentage of success started just crumbling. Like it was dramatic about how a guy would be like 13-3 and he'd get to 7 years, and all of a sudden it's like 13-6, 13-7, 13. He just starts losing just about everything.
Yeah, BJ Penn's a good example of that, right? You know, like there's a certain drop off where the person just looks totally different.
Well, and you know, we could honestly look. We would have to isolate a lot of different factors to figure out any one particular thing. But there's so many elements that go into being a professional fighter and being successful at that. And so for, let's say, we'll take BJ, you know, maybe it is physicality. Maybe he's lost a little bit of a step. His reactions are a little slower through any number of reasons why. Maybe his strength has diminished maybe slightly, or his flexibility. Maybe certain physical elements, regardless of injury or not, have diminished enough that at where they used to be, it was an edge. Where it is now, it is evened out, or is below what is necessary for him and how he fights to be successful. Maybe could be beyond physical deterioration. Maybe it's just mental
motivation.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe he's just not as motivated to push in the same ways that he was, or maybe he's not able to, recognize things that he was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and seeing those opportunities and being able to react on them quicker. There's a number of things, and especially when it comes to mental, now you're getting into such a subjective area that, go pull that apart. I mean,
yeah, that's a really good point. The mental aspect is a really good point, because who knows? You know, only the person that's competing knows. I mean, you really never have any idea what's going on inside a person's head.
I mean, for me, I decided to take a break after my Arlovsky fight, and that was somewhat physically based, but most of it was mental. I just didn't. I had no interest to go into any kind of training camp to put myself through all that again, to fight again. You know, it's just, for one, when you start off fighting and what those goals are, to as you get further in and further in and further in, and, you know, getting it 20 years of being a professional fighter and being a top 10 heavyweight and arguably and top 5 most of the time for 16 of them, something like that.
It's a lot of high-level competition.
Yeah, and it's just...
And youngest ever UFC heavyweight champion.
That's right.
So,
I was
until
that son of a bitch John Jones came and beat me out by a few months. That talented bastard.
Now you're the youngest ever.
Yeah, just heavyweight champion instead of the youngest ever UFC champion. But